Good afternoon, MMTs. 2:26 p.m. Intel quarterly reports were released. One of the things and some of the focuses that we would like to tell you is that Intel had guided down a couple of quarters previously and that they were going to come in and meet those numbers. Um, Intel was a stock that could have been bought back around $17. It doesn't move a lot. Um, We just want people to understand our new MMTs around the world, our global MMTs and US bound, is that Intel, uh, the PC, has strengthened in Q3 according to them. Um, they say that they see some slightly positive trends. I can say that every dog has its day, and that Intel has done well managing the bottom and the top line. However, we don't see where that growth will be totally robust in Intel as it once was. Their gross margins are 61%, plus or minus a couple of percentage points. MMTs. Q4 revs were 13.2 to 14.2 versus 13.99 billion capital IQ consensuses. So those lower revenues from other quarterly reports have finally came into play. Intel, the preliminary release was 58 versus 53. Revs of 13.5 billion versus 13.45 billion capital IQ consensus estimates. So they were in line. They never gave another downside quarter guidance today. However, we can show you that Intel has really lagged the S&P 500. Hey, there was a time up here at 2570, and I'll just show you from a 60-minute level where Intel hit. It spiked up to 2390 on the headline, and now we're down here at 2280 in after hours on Intel. Here's what the daily chart looks like. We had gapped it up here, and then they sold it down. This is just a daily chart, but you can see here on the 1 minute where we were here at 2390, and now we're back at, right around 22.85 in after hours. We just want to highlight it because Intel has been a bellwether throughout most people's lifetimes. We all know that Intel puts out the chips that go into computers. One of the things they think, consumer markets in US and Europe appear to have bottomed out according to Intel. Listen, we've been 5 years in a multiple expansion of earnings. We're in this quarter. And this quarter is not going to be well for a lot of publicly traded companies. You just have to understand that Intel had already guided down and missed and guided down throughout this calendar year during various quarters. And they finally, came in line and meet those estimates. One of the things that I can say clearly is I don't believe that the consumer has bottomed out, and that growth patterns are growth patterns. So one of the things that we're going to be watching in calendar 2014 is what Intel does and what their core businesses are. They think the data center business returned double-digit year-over-year growth due to the growth in the enterprise market and growth in the cloud and high-performance computing and storage. So they're changing their business model and making adjustments right along with the rest of the world. It's a great company. It has been a great company. It's been a bellwether throughout my 30 years of trading Intel. I can say that the bulls are going to have some encouragement, and that The lesson learned here is on the monthly chart. It's found a trading range that it will stay in for a period of time. The lower end here on the weekly chart is going to be between 20.7 and 25.7. Institutional ownership will be monitoring that going forward. In the semiconductor component, LLTC guided their quarter down today. So we're going to be watching very carefully throughout the rest of the reporting sessions that we have ahead of us. This week, next week, you got government volatility. So Intel managed their business very well as far as I'm concerned, but they're not blowing out the quarter. They're not guiding the quarter to upside guidances that it had did a couple of years ago. So beware that we will be teaching you a lot about this company. There will be times that it's on sale. I can say that it's a flat earnings quarter. It was a guided down quarter from before. They managed the bottom line and the top line, and that's the Intel story.